Hey everybody out there, my name is Dragonix, and this is going to be a little bit of a rant from me. This is something very, very important to me, very important in terms of my character and what I believe is right and wrong with society nowadays, and I need to talk about it. So if you're looking for my normal gameplay footage or first impressions or just something random like the Sonic cutscene video, go check out another video. This is not the video for you. But I need to talk about this. Hatred. Hatred is a video game developed by Destructive Creations, and some people may know it. For those who don't know, it is a game that has gotten a lot of controversy. In October 2014, they made a trailer that was a little bit controversial. The game itself is described as the main character being a mass-killing villain who hates humanity and begins a genocide crusade to kill innocent civilians and police officers. The developer themselves have described Hatred as a reaction to video game aesthetic trends such as political correctness, politeness, vivid color, and games as art. Obviously, it got a negative backlash to the genocide portion of that. Obviously, yeah, a little bit of an issue for most people. I being one of them, I'm not a person who likes that, would buy. I'm not one person who would buy this game. However, what I do agree with is the right for the game to exist. There are many art forms that people are offended by, and that is their right to be offended. They're going to be offended by it. There could be a trigger on there, so be it. But I believe this country, being the U.S., was built on free speech and the ability for everyone to come and state whatever form of art, whatever form of speech, and whatever they decide is right. Now, I understand that there's a certain level where that may draw, there may be a certain line in which that's not reasonable. But I think that in most cases, the consumer is the one to decide that. Now, for Destructive Creations and Hatred, they applied to be on Steam Greenlight. Now, Steam Greenlight is a service that allows users to vote and indicate what games they want on Steam and what games they don't want on Steam. In particular, games that get enough votes will be okayed by Valve, and that game can go to Steam with Valve taking some of the funds on that. Some of the, I think it's 30% or something like that, for the publishment on their site or publish on their service. But the game gets to probably the biggest PC platform that is out there today. For a digital download service. So it's a win-win for both scenarios. Well, not so much for Destructive Creations. Now, despite being number 7 yesterday of the top 100 in terms of votes, after its first day, mind you, I think it was around 17,000 votes, they were pulled off the Steam Greenlight service. In particular, the statement made by Valve, which is not known for making, very clear statements or being very open on this stuff. Based on what we've seen on Greenlight, we will not publish Hatred on Steam, Valve's Doug Lombardi said in an email to Polygon. As such, we will be taking it down. Now, it is Valve's right to make that claim and statement. It is their service. They can make the decision of what they want to sell or not. I get that, but Valve's use of the Greenlight system is appalling to me. Let's just go over some of the games in which sort of contradict their current stance. Now, in terms of the statement that they could make, in terms of why they could pull it from Steam, they can indicate that there is a FAQ page for the developers. And are there any restrictions on what can be posted is one of the questions. The statement there is, your game must not contain offensive material or violate copyright or intellectual property rights. All right, so let's take that. Let's take that for what it is. So first of all, intellectual property rights. Now, there have been games that have claimed, and users that have claimed that some games have used assets from other games that weren't used with permission. I can think of the RIP forums having the claim that they were using Battle 3 sounds and things like that. I think Slaughtering Grounds had that as well from Jim Sterling. But regardless, that hasn't really, there's been nothing pulled from Steam Greenlight over that. Now, violate copyright? Okay, I haven't heard of one. Now, here's the bigger one, though. Offensive material. Offensive material is obviously subjective, and there actually had been a game before that had been pulled from Steam Greenlight, and it was an erotic game. It featured nudity, and that game was pulled off. Okay, while I fight for the consumer's right to choose, I understand the reasons that Valve decided not to publish that. And I have a little less problems with that, because right now, in terms of their market, there isn't really another game like that. Now, somebody did indicate that there was a game called, and let me pull it up here, Everlasting Summer, and apparently that's supposed to have nudity in it. I don't know. I can't guarantee that, but there's that. Somebody posted that. I can't confirm it. I haven't played the game. Now, let's talk about Hatred. Are there games like Hatred on the Valve store right now? Well, there seemingly is. The original Postal, and I'm not talking Postal 2 or Postal 3. I want to specifically refer to Postal. That's a game where you kill people indiscriminately for no good reason. It's not described as a genocide simulator, but it's definitely what I would consider the same level of offense. Now, people will argue with Postal 2 and Postal 3 that the game actually wants you not to go and kill people. It's a satire. Okay. I can understand that argument. It puts you in pretty much every situation to want to do that. Pushing you to the point of, breaking. So there's that. So the Postal's out there. Grand Theft Auto 5 is supposed to be coming out on Steam any day now. It's supposed to be within the next couple of months, I believe. But that game got banned in Australia for the whole sex worker and killing of sex workers in the game. A game that, I myself don't enjoy. I don't enjoy the Grand Theft Auto series, but I still think it has a right to exist, and I understand why people will play it. Now, do I think it should be banned in Australia? Hell no. Do I think Hatred should be pulled from Steam because some people are offended by it? No. And again, it's up to the consumer to make that choice. That's what our free capitalist society is nowadays. Let people make the choice of what they want to buy. I don't believe that a game that has a different view on things should be isolated in terms of the sales. What bothers me even more is that this is one of the first instances that Valve has gotten involved. Steam Greenlight doesn't exactly have the greatest of standards lately. Let's take a look at some games that made it past Greenlight that were, well, let's just say bad. RIP, and I did a video on this channel regarding that. It was by no means a game that should ever have been released into early access. It had absolutely no right to be it wasn't ready for market. It was a game that to me was a scam, and that made it past Steam Greenlight. Slaughtering Grounds, a game that Jim Sterling highlighted, that had a lot of problems with it, that the developers abused DMCA and tried to take the videos regarding the critique down. That was pulled for a brief moment in time, but it's back up. Okay. The one game where the developer threatened Gabe Newell. Okay, I can see that. That's physical violence, and that's actually dealing with people within the real world. Okay, understand. That's perfectly logical, and that's up to Valve. This is up to Valve too, but what is the line of offensive? Let's take a look at some games that could be greenlit that is on the current Steam store page right now, our Greenlight page. Massive Cleavage versus Zombies. That sounds like a family-friendly, wholesome title, doesn't it? Okay, well, okay, so maybe maybe big boobs and massive killing. it's not offensive to some people. Okay, how about gynophobia? It's a game regarding the fear of women. Some women may take offense to that in terms of the way that they described the monster in question. That could be offensive to some. Undone, Project Nightmares, and a statement from their store page, or the Greenlight page. We at Undone are sick of boundaries and taboos in gaming. These virtual walls put limits on our creative worlds, which we create. So with that in mind, we present this to you. Actually, it sounds very similar to the statement made by the... It sounds a little bit similar to the destructive creation statement regarding hatred. Now, who makes the decision that what is offensive and not? I think that's the biggest issue here. To me, like, let's take a video that I played on my channel, Fist of Jesus. It's a game where you as Jesus and Judas beat the shit out of zombies and, you know, go through levels and punch them and kick them and, you know, summon fireballs of death. To somebody of the Catholic faith, that may be offensive, but that's okay. All right. What about a game like Postal or a game like Manhunt? That's on your store already, Valve. Now, again, this has been argued by a bunch of people already, and so I don't want to get into those statements as much, but it sickens me that we live in a world where, I mean, I was raised where free speech is a huge, huge thing, you know, and I experienced it in my former work. The fact of the matter is that it pissed me off every time where we would have to, that I couldn't speak my mind or couldn't speak what was obviously wrong with the situation because some people didn't like my opinion. And it wasn't even to the points of racism or prejudice. It was more so in that case of quality of the product. Again, letting the consumer make the decision on this is of utmost paramount to me. The fact is that Valve inserted themselves into a situation where they're okay with bad quality games. They're okay with games that are offensive to only maybe some people or, you know, a slight set of people, but hatred has a special place in their heart, apparently. I don't understand that. I don't understand that at all. And I think it hurts the idea of what hatred could be. The whole simulation of things. I think if you keep people out of the system in terms of, you know, not keeping them, you know, not exposing them to that media, I think it can have a opposite effect where they may not have a problem with it then more so than if you do actually introduce them to it. Now, that's not going to be for everybody, of course, but to me, it's censorship. I know that it's Valve's right, but it is censorship to me because somebody somewhere did not like what Destructive Creations has created. Now, this would be less of a problem if Valve wasn't the big kahuna on the PC platform. The PC platform is pretty much controlled by Valve right now. You got Origin, you got GOG, but if you need a game, you're going to look on Steam. I mean, that's pretty much it. For them to interject themselves into this as the market leader seems like a very, very wrong thing to do. And in particular, it may be against European guideline or European law, but I'm in America, so less of a problem here. I just wonder where the video game industry has gone in the last month in terms of censorship. I mean, it is unbelievable that a game got pulled from a store because some people were offended. I know that that doesn't resonate with everybody. To me, the most important thing is freedom. The most important thing is to be who you want to be, as long as you don't hurt anybody else. Now, you may argue, well, wait, this game may offend me. Let me be clear. A game is something you can buy. A game is something that you can decide to take home and play whenever you want. A video from that game is something that you can decide to play whenever you want. That is not the same thing as, for example, going out and murdering people. Maybe some people want to do that. Not me, but that then affects somebody else because, you know, the whole killing people thing. But the fact of the matter is that the games, books, movies, TV, that's all in the comfort of that person's choice. To take it away from those people just because some people have a problem with it is a major issue with me. And I hope Valve realizes what kind of mistake they've made here, because this is a slippery slope. Let's not kid ourselves that this is the only instance where Valve could do this. The fact of the matter is that this worked. Whatever statement that was made, or whoever decided to talk to Valve, obviously had enough influence for them to make the decision to take off that game. Now, what stops the next set of ones? Because now you've proven that it can be taken off due to violent content or unreasonable content. All right, so what about those other games? Could they be pulled? What about developers who are making a game that could be considered offensive to some? Not all, but some. Do they look at the Steam Greenlight system and be like, I don't know if I want to do that anymore? It is going to be a wild ride for the next couple weeks, and I hope that Valve makes the right decision in the end to be more accepting and to be hands-off like they had been. Now, do I want them to be hands-on with some of the quality problems that they've had? Oh, sure. Certainly. There's no question about that. Steam Greenlight is a cesspool right now of games. And there have been great games that have come out of it. But there have also been some bad ones, and a lot bad ones, and scams. And it saddens me that Valve has done so little for what they've created that they really don't care at this point. I see a lot of that from Valve lately, and I'm really concerned about where they are going as a company. TF2, yeah, I understand it's an older game. The whole end of the line update pissed people off, and it pissed me off too, to be honest with you. But, you know, I can understand a little bit of that more. The auction system, experimenting with their, you know, user base, the fact that that bug occurred with the gems was inexcusable. I mean, that wasn't that hard. That wasn't that hard to predict that somebody would exploit the system. And you had it happen before in the past with the coal system in a previous Christmas update. Valve's lack of getting involved with the community could be their downfall over the next couple of years. I really do believe that. And it's a shame because I consider Valve to be one of the top respected companies that I had a couple of years ago, that I would love to work for Valve. But Valve, I wonder where you're going, and I hope that you understand what kind of chaos you have caused, because you may not realize the sort of waves that you've caused. All right, I've gotten that out of my system. Thank you guys for listening, if you did listen, and I hope you have a good day. Expect more content from me over the next couple of days. I hope that things get better. I really do. Hey, thanks for watching. If you have a chance, leave some feedback and comments below. If you liked the video, hit that like button. And if you want more content like this, hit that subscribe button. This is Dragonix signing off, hoping that gaming brings as much fun to you as it does for me.